Help me hit 7,000 subscribers. Support the video with a like and share your thoughts in the comments. I read everyone. Thank you. I didn't expect the night to end the way it did. When Evelyn whispered, "Don't touch me," it wasn't loud or angry. It was quiet, precise, like a correction. We were standing in the middle of a crowded living room. Music humming, people laughing, drinks clinking. Anyone watching would have thought we were fine. I felt something shift anyway. I'm Marcus. I'm 38. I've been with Evelyn for almost 5 years. Long enough to know the difference between a bad mood and a warning sign. She was wearing a navy dress that night, the one she always said made her feel confident. I remember thinking she looked incredible. I put my hand lightly at the small of her back. Nothing dramatic, just something familiar. That's when she leaned in and said it. "Don't touch me. Not here." I pulled my hand away immediately. I smiled. No scene. That's important. Men learn early that making a scene never ends well. Still, my chest tightened. I asked quietly if everything was okay. She nodded too fast and said, "Just give me space tonight." Then she turned back to her friends like the conversation was over. At first, I told myself not to read into it. Parties are weird. People get self-conscious. Maybe she didn't want to look clingy. Maybe I was overthinking it. I grabbed a drink and stood near the kitchen, watching the room. Evelyn moved easily through it, laughing louder than usual, touching arms, leaning in close when people spoke. She looked relaxed, free. About 20 minutes in, someone asked how long we'd been together. Evelyn answered without looking at me. "A while," she said, vague, smiling. No introduction. No hand reaching for mine. It was subtle, but subtle things are often the loudest. That's when I realized she wasn't just asking for space. She was asking for separation. Publicly. If you've ever felt that moment where you're suddenly unsure of your place beside someone, tap like and share this so the story reaches the people who understand that feeling. I tried once more later when we were near the balcony. I didn't touch her. I just asked if I'd done something wrong. She sighed, eyes still scanning the room, and said, "Can we not do this tonight? I just want to enjoy myself." The way she said it made me feel like an obligation, not a partner. So I stopped trying. I didn't hover. I didn't sulk. I didn't stand in the corner like a jealous boyfriend guarding territory. I let go. I talked to people. Old friends, new faces. I laughed when it came naturally. When someone asked if Evelyn and I were together, I didn't correct them when she stayed silent. I matched her energy. If she wanted to look single, I wasn't going to contradict her. There's a strange clarity that comes when you stop forcing your role. I watched men flirt with her, harmlessly, openly. She didn't shut it down. She didn't encourage it either. She just let it happen. And with every passing minute, something inside me cooled. Not anger, acceptance. Near midnight, someone joked that Evelyn was clearly unattached. She laughed. I noticed she glanced at me, just for a second, like she was checking for a reaction. I gave her none. That moment mattered. People can feel when they've lost leverage. Comment space if you've ever been told to back off and later realized it wasn't about space at all. On the drive home, the car was quiet. Not the comfortable kind. She eventually asked why I'd been distant. I almost laughed at the irony. I told her I was just respecting what she asked for. She didn't respond right away. When she did, she said, "I didn't mean like that." I asked what she did mean. She didn't have an answer. That night, lying in bed, staring at the ceiling, I thought about how easily respect slips away when boundaries get blurred. I hadn't embarrassed her. I hadn't argued. I hadn't punished her. I simply stepped back and let her choice exist fully. And for the first time in a long while, I felt steady. Before you move on, share your thoughts below. When someone creates distance in public, is it accidental or intentional? Let's talk about it. That party didn't end our relationship, but it changed the way I saw it. Sometimes the moment you stop reaching is the moment you finally see how far apart you already were. The morning after, Evelyn acted as if nothing had happened. Breakfast was quiet, polite. She smiled occasionally, asked routine questions, but the tension from the night still lingered. I noticed that the way she moved around the kitchen, careful and precise, mirrored her behavior at the party. It was like she was testing boundaries, seeing how much space she could take without consequence. And I let her. I didn't correct her, challenge her, or step in. I simply existed in my own rhythm, observing. Work that day felt lighter somehow. I wasn't carrying the weight of trying to control someone else's behavior or trying to fix a night that wasn't mine to manage. My mind drifted back to the party, the casual laughter, the way she let herself float through conversations without me. That freedom she exhibited, it wasn't threatening, not exactly. It was a reminder that people are allowed to exist independently, even in relationships, and that sometimes respect manifests as silence rather than confrontation. By mid-afternoon, I received a text from a friend asking if everything had been okay at the party. I paused, thinking about how to summarize the tension without spilling my own vulnerability too soon. I typed a short response, "All fine," just gave her space like she asked. That was true. It was concise. It was accurate. And it was the first time I had articulated the idea that giving up control doesn't equate to giving up dignity. That evening, Evelyn came into the living room while I was reading on the couch. She hesitated near the doorway, a faint smile, like she wanted to ask something but wasn't sure how. I didn't look up immediately. Instead, I let the silence stretch. Eventually, she spoke. "Do you feel like I'm avoiding you?" It was quiet, almost tentative. I didn't flinch. I didn't react defensively. I simply said, "I'm respecting the boundary you set last night." She nodded, and for a moment, I thought I saw relief in her eyes. The thing about boundaries, I realized, is that they reveal character. They show what someone values and, more importantly, how they want to be treated. By stepping back, I learned more about Evelyn than any confrontation could have taught me. I saw her in her natural state, unguarded and unpressured. And at the same time, I saw myself more clearly, what I was willing to tolerate, where my own self-respect lay, and how to maintain it without aggression. Days passed, and the subtle shifts continued. We weren't arguing, but we weren't pretending everything was unchanged either. Our conversations became deliberate, careful, yet genuine. I noticed that by not asserting my presence aggressively, Evelyn began to engage differently. She would ask questions about my work, comment on small accomplishments, sometimes even laugh at my jokes without prompting. The space I had given her wasn't a withdrawal. It was a quiet signal that respect and autonomy coexist naturally in a relationship. If you've ever found yourself stepping back to gain perspective, hit like and share this story. Let it reach someone who needs to see that respect can be quiet but powerful. Eventually, a conversation emerged that changed everything. One evening, while we were both preparing dinner, Evelyn said, "Marcus, I realized last weekend I was trying to assert my independence, but I might have overdone it." I didn't interrupt. I listened, internalizing her words, feeling the balance of honesty and vulnerability. She continued, "I didn't mean to make you feel unseen. I just needed to know that you would respect me even when I step away." I smiled softly, a subtle acknowledgement of the lessons the past few days had taught both of us. It was then I introduced a small challenge, not as a test, but as a way to engage in dialogue. I asked her what she thought respect looked like in daily life. She hesitated, then spoke candidly, explaining that it was in the little actions, the consideration, the silent acknowledgments. I nodded, appreciating the insight, and as we shared that quiet understanding, I realized that giving someone space isn't the absence of love. It's often the truest form of it. Our relationship didn't magically transform overnight, but the atmosphere shifted. Laughter became lighter, conversations more intentional, and physical closeness returned, not as a demand, but as a mutual choice. I discovered that letting go of control in small, meaningful ways can create openings for deeper connection, trust, and intimacy. Comment below with the word freedom if you've ever experienced growth in a relationship by respecting boundaries. I'd love to hear your story. In the following weeks, the pattern became clearer. We no longer measured our interactions by proximity or control. Instead, each gesture, each smile, Each shared glance carried the weight of mutual respect and understanding. I never had to demand attention or affection. It came organically, because the space I had given Evelyn allowed her to return to me authentically. Finally, one quiet night, I reflected on the journey. That small moment at the party, the whispered, "Don't touch me," had been the turning point. It wasn't about rejection. It was about recalibration. It taught me patience, self-respect, and the subtle power of quiet observation. It reminded me that relationships thrive not under pressure, but under respect, awareness, and deliberate care. If you found yourself learning from subtle moments in your relationships, hit like, comment your thoughts, and subscribe to follow stories that explore emotional clarity and real-life lessons. Let's navigate these moments together. By letting her appear single, by stepping back when she needed distance, I discovered something profound. Connection isn't about proximity, it's about understanding. And sometimes, the bravest thing you can do is simply let go and trust the relationship to find its own rhythm. It's a lesson I won't forget, and one I'll carry into every gathering, every party, every silent moment where choice and respect intersect.